What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to High Volume Video. I'm Keith. It's November 7th when I'm recording this, the first day of the Barnes & Noble 50% off Criterion sale. I went and did some shopping on my lunch break today, and I have a stack of movies to show you Criterion fiends who just love seeing what other collectors buy. So yeah, let's look at all the movies that I picked up on day one of this new sale. Alright, so the first one I grabbed that I was most excited to pick up was a Cronenberg movie from 2005, A History of Violence, starring Viggo Mortensen. I have seen this before, but it's been probably almost 20 years. It says this movie came out in 2005, and I did have a DVD of this back in the day, but it was one of those ones that just kind of got lost to the annals of history. At some point I gave it away or somebody borrowed it or something. I don't know. I don't remember what happened to that DVD, but I haven't seen this movie in almost 20 years. It's going to be like a first watch for me. I don't really remember much about this movie, but I am a big David Cronenberg fan. I'll read a little blurb from the back just because I don't really remember much about the movie. In David Cronenberg's subtly provocative film, one of his most celebrated, all is not as it initially seems. In his first of many collaborations with the director, Viggo Mortensen delivers a highly nuanced performance as Tom Stahl, a small-town husband and father who is hailed as a hero when he kills the would-be perpetrators of a violent robbery. But how did this ordinary family man dispatch them with such skill? Working with an exceptional cast that also includes Maria Bello, Ed Harris, and William Hurt, Cronenberg slyly deconstructs the mythos of the American action hero, posing elemental questions about identity, human nature, and the violence that we both abhor and can't look away from. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching this movie again. I might put it in tonight. Okay, another one that I was very excited to pick up, and probably one of the coolest cover artworks that Criterion has put out so far this year, Altered States by Ken Russell. I've never seen this movie, but I did watch a trailer and it looks pretty psychedelic and weird, and I'm into those kinds of movies. But again, since I don't have much to say about the movie, I'll play a little bit of the trailer and read a blurb from the back. When researcher Eddie Jessup, played by William Hurt, begins using himself as a test subject for his mind-expanding psychological experiments, it sends him on an increasingly dangerous, substance-fueled odyssey from humankind's primordial past to the outer limits of consciousness. Looks very weird and trippy, and I like that kind of stuff, and honestly, just that cover alone kind of sold me on it. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked to check this movie out. And yeah, another William Hurt movie. All right, the next one I got might be surprising to some people that it's even in the collection. It's actually Spine number 12, so a very early release by them. But that is the mockumentary This is Spinal Tap, written by Christopher Guest, I believe, and directed by Rob Reiner. This is a very funny mockumentary. Yeah, early on in Criterion's life, I guess you could say, they definitely put out movies that don't really fit into their style of catalog at this point, but it is really cool that movies like this, and like the original Halloween is actually in the collection technically, only on Laserdisc, and RoboCop was also on DVD. I would love to see them put out RoboCop. That would be awesome. But yeah, This is Spinal Tap is a super funny mockumentary about, it's kind of like a VH1 behind the music style, following this fake rock band on their final tour, I believe. I don't know. It's been a really long time since I've seen this movie, but I remember being very funny. I do like a lot of Christopher Guest stuff. Very interesting style of comedy. But yeah, I'm excited to watch this one again for the first time in quite a while. That's This is Spinal Tap. Okay, the next one I picked up has been on my list to pick up for a very long time. I watched it when it first came out around when it first came out, I think, on Netflix actually, and that's Richard Linklater's Boyhood. It's a very interesting, unique film. It takes place over the span of 12 years, and they actually filmed it across the span of 12 years too, and you basically just follow this story of this boy growing up. At the beginning of the movie, he's very young, and by the end of the movie, he's on his way moving out to college. The boy's parents are played by Patricia Arquette, who won an Oscar for her performance in this movie, and Ethan Hawke, just, you know, a Richard Linklater regular. So yeah, I just love like the passage of time element of this movie. It's such an interesting idea that they were able to capitalize on with this movie. It's kind of similar to the Before trilogy, but all in one movie, where, you know, with the Before trilogy, it was the first movie, then I think 7 or 9 years later or something, I think it was like 9 years later was the second movie, and then another 9 years later is the third movie. This one is all that stuff crammed into one, where you see this one actor growing up, and it's super interesting, super relatable if you grew up in like lower middle class America, with divorced parents. I think this movie is awesome. I love a lot of there's almost like these little time capsules. Like, you see him going to a Harry Potter book release and just stuff like that. It's really cool. If you're into the Richard Linklater style of drama, I definitely think you should check it out. Yeah, this is just a really awesome movie. It kind of gets hated on now, I think, but I love it. That's Boyhood. All right, and the next one I grabbed was definitely an impulse buy. I've never seen this movie. I've heard good things, and it's a baseball movie. Bull Durham is from 1988, stars Kevin Costner, Tim Robbins, and Susan Sarandon. I watched the trailer and it just looks kind of interesting. I'm not like a huge sports guy myself, but I did play baseball as a kid and in high school. And for some reason, baseball movies kind of are interesting to me. Like Moneyball, I think, is awesome. Struggling now to think of other baseball movies. Angels in the Outfield. But I don't know. This one just looked interesting. I really don't know much about it. I think it's just about Susan Sarandon. She hooks up with a minor league baseball player every season or something, and she ends up hooking up with Kevin Costner's character. And apparently it's just one of those movies that's about life in general and not just baseball. So I'm into that kind of thing. Don't have much else to say about it, but yeah, Bull Durham. I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Okay, and the next one I picked up is actually an animated movie. There's not a whole lot of animated movies in the Criterion collection, but this is a recent release and a recent addition to the collection from last year, actually. Flow. It's a 3D animated movie about a cat trying to survive this flood that's taking place. Along the way, this cat kind of makes some friends with some other animals, and it was actually very heartwarming. I was surprised actually by how much I liked this movie, and I watched it for the first time last week actually on HBO and liked it so much that I decided I wanted to grab it. I watched it with my wife and daughter, and my daughter doesn't watch a lot of movies yet. She's only a year old, or just over a year old. But she was very into this movie. She was pointing at the screen and yelling, and she was totally sucked in. Usually the only other thing that she'll sit down and watch on TV is Miss Rachel. So I don't know. For that fact alone, I wanted to pick up Flow. I really enjoyed this movie. It's very heartwarming. Just like a cute 3D animated movie about a bunch of animals that work together to survive this natural disaster that's happening. It's a really cool movie. I definitely think if you're into animated movies, definitely. But even if you're not into animated movies, I think this movie's awesome. And I want to say that it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, maybe? I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But either way, Flow from last year, definitely worth checking out. Okay, and the last two I picked up are a couple more David Cronenberg movies that I actually haven't seen. I'm kind of ashamed to say that. Well, at least Naked Lunch. I'm ashamed to say that I haven't seen Naked Lunch yet. This one apparently is about a drug addict who's an exterminator. I don't know, it just looks really cool. So the addict named Bill Lee plunges into the nightmarish inner zone, another world of sinister cabals and giant talking bugs. That sounds pretty sweet to me. And The Shrouds just came out last year, actually. This one says it's a corporate espionage thriller about this guy, Vincent, played by Vincent Cassel, who comes up with, I don't know, some crazy futuristic cemetery type thing that lets the loved ones of the recently deceased watch the decomposing bodies of the people in the graves. I don't know. Looks pretty interesting. I think this is the first Criterion Premieres release that they've put out. If you look on the spine there's no spine number. It says Criterion Premieres, and there's not a whole lot of special features in here. It says there's only an interview, a trailer, and subtitles and some notes by a critic. So kind of like a bare bones like sub label, I guess, is what the Criterion Premieres is. I'm interested to see what other releases. I don't know if they're just going to do recent releases or if they'll go back and do older movies, but just give them kind of like a more basic release like this. I don't know, something interesting to keep an eye out for, keep an eye on. But yeah, I'm excited to check out these new Cronenberg movies that I haven't seen yet, Naked Lunch and The Shrouds. All right, that's it, guys. That's the haul from day one of this Criterion 50% off sale. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen any of these, what you think of them, and also let me know what you're picking up. I feel like Spinal Tap, Altered States, and A History of Violence are all going to be pretty hot sellers, and maybe The Shrouds too. Being, you know, I think it's like $5 cheaper in the sale than a regular, you know, Blu-ray release. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Criterion Premieres line that they're doing now too. I'm very curious to see what happens with that, what other movies get added to that line. And it's cool to, you know, if you like Criterion but you're not like that into the special features, I think this is like a really cool idea for them to do, you know, save you $5 on a release. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.